We're using steam power today on wood chips and black steel. Stick around. So we've got the Ruger 44 Carbine International. It's all stripped. And before I go into final sanding, I need to steam out all of the dents that are on this stock. Despite how old the gun is in really remarkably good condition. He used it. It's obvious that it's been used, but it was never really abused. So we've got a few dents that we need to steam out. So we have some dents in this area right here. We have a good sized dent back up in here. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get that one out. Dent in this area. If we roll it over, there's some minor dents up in this area, and up here, and a couple small ones in the bottom of this. So not going to be a big deal getting these taken out. So what are we going to use to get these dents out? Well, we're going to use steam. How do we produce that steam? Well, we're going to produce the steam with water. So we're going to use distilled water. Now the idea of the distilled water is if you have minerals in your water, like iron or calcium and some, because you don't want to introduce those contaminants into the wood. So I always use distilled water. Just avoids all those potential complications when we get up into finishing. I'm going to use Q-tips. The reason for the Q-tips is we want to be very specific in the areas that we apply the moisture. And we're going to do that in advance of the steaming, and I'll talk about that when we get to that part of the steaming process. I'm going to use paper towel, just regular paper towel. Use just one of those half sheets, and then I fold that half sheet in half again. And then, of course, we're going to use an iron. This is a standard household iron. Works fine. One of the things I like about it is, depending on where I am touching the iron on the spot that I'm steaming out, I can concentrate up in the tip. I can concentrate into a much smaller confined area, and then if it's a bigger place that I'm trying to steam out, then I can actually just move it back on the iron so that I'm getting a broader heat put into whatever it is, whatever dent I'm trying to get out. All right, so let's get started on this. All right, so I've set the heat on the iron up to its hottest setting. Again, we want to create that steam. We want to create it fairly quickly. All right, the iron's up to temperature. We're going to start by focusing on these smaller dents right in this area right here. And I'm going to take some of this distilled water, and I'm going to fill up, or not fill up, but I'm going to add some water to a small cup. Using the Q-tip, I'm going to soak that Q-tip. And then I'm going to apply the distilled water into that one area that I want to steam out. And then we're just going to let it rest there for a minute or two, because we want that water to sort of absorb its way down into the cells of the wood. I also like to add a little bit of distilled water to the paper towel. And the reason I do that is if I just go right in and put the paper towel over the dot of water that I've put on the wood, the paper towel is going to want to absorb that water. So I don't want that to happen. I want that dot of water that I put in the wood to remain there. All right. So it's been about a minute. I'm going to put that over, and when I do it, I can see where the dent is, because it darkens the paper towel a little bit more. Then just going to apply the tip of the iron to those darker areas, or that darker area on the paper towel. Now you can both hear it and you can see the steam coming off. Now one of the things we want to be careful of is we don't want to try and saturate the wood fibers. Yeah, I mean that's almost gone already. Because again, we're not trying to add moisture back into the wood, just into the area that we're trying to pop those dents out. Okay, we'll do that again. Just let that set for a minute or two. And repeat the process. Now, because I still have to sand this down with multiple grits of sandpaper, it's not completely necessary that I pop this out even or even proud of the base wood. If I get it so that it's within a half a thousandths or even less of the surface, then the sandpaper will take out whatever's left of that dent. One of the things that often happens with dents is if they impact the wood hard enough and crush those wood fibers or crush those cells, our objective is to introduce water back into the cells, pop them up like a balloon. But sometimes if those dents go too deep, they may dent the underlying cells or the underlying wood structure, and sometimes it shows up in finish. There are occasions where a dent will literally break the fibers, in which case it's nearly impossible to pop those out because the break is the break. When I'm down towards the end, I used a little bit broader section of the iron because I want to pop the wood fibers a little bit around that dent as well. That's almost completely gone. So the dent on this one is pretty significant. I'm not entirely convinced I can get it all out, but we're going to definitely try and get as much of it out as we can. I'm actually trying to put the tip down inside the dent. I'm trying to concentrate that steam right in that area. That's actually beginning to impress me. I wasn't sure that one was gonna come out. And we just keep repeating it. Just keep repeating it. It's gotten flat enough that now the water won't pool up inside the dent. It just kind of wants to just keep running out, which is a good thing. Man, I'm telling you what, we're almost there. The power of steam, guys. All right, that dent is actually completely gone. I wanted to go through that with you because it was a particularly deep one. I mentioned earlier that if the fibers below have been crushed, that you're not going to, most of the time, you're never going to be able to get the dent back out. In this case, I was not very confident that the dent or the fibers hadn't gotten crushed, but this one turned out even better than I thought it would. I was pretty convinced I wasn't going to be able to pop that deep dent out. I did. It's completely gone. Got a little bit of staining that we need to work on a little bit, but I can hardly feel that dent. When we get into the final sanding and finishing, that's just, you're not going to know when it's going to be done. The next time we get back on this, we're going to do the three-part sanding, and I'm hoping actually to get into the coloring and into the final finish. So sanding is sanding. Yeah, I don't need to show you, I don't think, the entire process of sanding. We're going to use 3 different grits. I'll talk through that really quickly in the next video. We'll do mostly just a quick montage of me sanding the stock down. I want to remind you that when I do the finishing, I'm going to do just sort of a quick overview on the channel for my coloring and my finishing. If you want those details, you're going to have to go over to the Patreon page, because that will be a Patreon exclusive video. I'm going to teach you how I color and teach you how I mix my secret sauce finishes and how I apply them. So that's going to be a Patreon only exclusive video. So head on over there if you're interested in that level of detail. That'll be up there for you on Patreon sometime, hopefully in the next week or 2. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys.